You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javanokelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you for joining me for another incredible session here of the Daily African Proverbs. This is being recorded for the African Father in America podcast, which is broadcasting on all podcasting platforms. You can catch the Daily African Proverbs on Spotify, on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts. And we've been doing this for almost 2 years now. Since January 2021, we have been bringing beautiful, educational African proverbs so that we can all learn something by the end of our conversation. So after every single episode of the Daily African Proverbs, the hope is that you leave with something new. You leave with something that can guide you as an individual, something that can guide you along with your family, and something that you can also even use when you are producing a show, when you are in the middle of a conversation and you feel that you need some wisdom in that conversation. So that's why we are here. Today we are literally taking a virtual journey to Madagascar, where this proverb comes from. Before we continue, I want you to take a minute. If you are on Clubhouse, ping in 3 to 5 people. Just take a moment to do that right now, but also share the link to this conversation within Clubhouse. I'm doing that myself right now, but also outside of Clubhouse, so just leave your comment with how you feel right now and what's exciting for you in regards to today's conversation. And also, if you are on YouTube, because we are live, we are multi-streaming on 2 platforms. If you are on YouTube, the best way you can support is for you to subscribe to the channel. Just push the subscribe button and also push the notification bell so that when we are live in the future, you can also catch this incredible conversation. It's so nice to see you, Lavender. It's nice to see you, Jermaine and MK, and I also see community leader. This is Felix Herrera. Thank you for joining us. Now, as we do it every day, we usually pick, a beautiful proverb, and then we dissect it. We look at what does this proverb really mean, but not only that, but what does it mean for you as an individual who is listening or watching this conversation today. What does today's proverb mean to you? If you are anxiously waiting to know what the proverb is, I am about to share it. I was just sharing the link on Clubhouse for our audiences there to be able to join me on YouTube. But the proverb from Madagascar says that govern a country as you would roast a crocodile on a spit. Govern a country as you would roast a crocodile on a spit. I don't know who amongst you loves roasting animals, but I researched a little bit and I was really curious what roasting on a spit meant. And I went online and researched, and I saw different pictures, different videos of animals being roasted on a spit. And to roast an animal on a spit is where the cook sticks a wooden or metal rod through the animal and sets it on 2 sticks on the other side so that the animal is over the fire. So basically 2 people can carry the animal and put it over the fire and turn it around using the stick or the metal rod that has been passed through the animal. A lot of the time it's pigs that are roasted through a spit. But this proverb is telling us that govern a country as you'd roast a crocodile on a spit. And can you just picture that in your mind? First of all, just going out and hunting a crocodile. That's no mean feat. It's no joke. And I remember way back, not long time ago, but maybe 12 years ago, I used to work in Malawi in southern Africa, and there were crocodile hunters there that were actually beautiful women, and their job was to go into Lake Malawi during seasons where the population of crocodiles was just insane. People were being murdered by the crocodiles. Children were being told not to go to the lake. Goats were being stolen by the crocodiles. So they had to bring the government crocodile hunters with guns and knives, and at night they would get into their boats, and we would stand by the beach watching them live, because we lived together with them in the same resort. So we would just, during the day, they were just these cool girls from Malawi that were, I was just so inspired by their courage. So courage is the first word when we come to what this proverb is telling us. Govern a country as you would roast a crocodile on a spit. And so seeing these amazing women, there were about 3 women and 2 guys, seeing them jump into the boat, and you hear the sound of the boat roaring as it disappears into the darkness, and then hours and hours later they come back, not with one crocodile, but with like 3 big crocodiles. And of course, they don't bring them all at once. They bring one, they go back into the water and come back with another one, then they go back. And then they were explaining to us how they were able to, to capture these crocodiles. And when I was reading this proverb, govern a country as you would roast a crocodile on a spit, it reminded me so much of those days when I used to be in Malawi, and where we actually saw a crocodile being hunted down, being processed so that people could actually share some of the meat. But the last thing I thought about was whether a crocodile could actually be roasted, and not just roasted, but roasted on a spit. And so when I read this proverb, govern a country as you would roast a crocodile on a spit, it shows us that governing a country is serious business. It's you have to be willing to die in order for you to govern a country. And this proverb really teaches us that governing a country requires you to do the impossible. And so right now many leaders are in the UK for the funeral of the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth. And many people don't know that the Queen of England was actually she was proclaimed as queen in Kenya. And Kenya is very, very influenced by the British, the British Empire, similar to many other, Commonwealth countries. The British still have a lot of influence in Kenya. And so as leaders are gathered in the UK, mourning the passing of the Queen of England, I feel that this proverb is very, very timely. It's a reminder that, doing the work that all these leaders do, and doing the work that even the Queen herself did is not easy. But also thinking about some of the damage that some of our leaders cause to our people is important. No matter how incredible the work that they do is, we also have to think about, if then their work is to roast crocodile on a spit, how many crocodiles should they appropriately roast? How should they treat these animals? When in the course of the year should they actually be hunting down crocodiles? So even though many leaders over time prove to be good at what they do, we have to be aware that the crocodiles are also part of the ecosystem, and they play a pivotal role in the grand scheme of things. So we have to think about their role in that way, and not just as something that we want to hunt down to prove our abilities. I feel that this proverb is really, really timely. Also at a personal leadership level, for me personally, I feel that this is a reminder that no matter what you're doing, as long as you've set out as a visionary, as a leader, you should expect incredible challenges, and you should take those challenges as opportunities. So I want to open our session with those few remarks. I want to welcome Brother Rushi and Stella to the house. I also want to remind you all to take a minute and ping in 3 to 5 people to join us for this conversation. Share the link to this Clubhouse conversation, and also remember that our proverb is taking us to Madagascar today, where we are talking about govern a country as you'd roast a crocodile on a spit. It's quite the situation. And now I want to hear what you all have to say about this beautiful proverb. Remember, this is being recorded for the African Father in America podcast, and we are live on YouTube, but also you can catch this conversation later on Apple Podcast. We are a 5-star rated podcast on Apple Podcasts with over 120,000 downloads at the moment, and we are growing. So subscribe to the African Father in America podcast on Apple Podcasts and help us continue with this growth. Lavender, how are you? How are you feeling today? How was your weekend? And what does this proverb from Madagascar mean for you? Govern a country as you'd roast a crocodile. Thank you.
Hi, Simon. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to see you all here. My name is Lavender from Kenya. My thoughts on today's proverb, govern a country as you'd roast a crocodile on a spit. What comes to mind is leadership role, and you having to do the 360 degree of the organization, the team that you're leading. Lavender, I'm done speaking for now. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you so much, Lavender. I'm just so grateful that you took the time to join us today. And for those who don't know, Lavender is also part of our team here at One Vibe Media and One Vibe Africa. So follow her and stay in touch with her. And also Stella is a part of our team. Make sure you follow both of them. And if you want to learn more, if you want to be more involved, they're the best people to connect with. Again, if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. This is the Daily African Proverbs. I consider this a sacred space where we bring new African proverbs every Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm here in Seattle, Washington, and there are not so many African people or places to commune with Africans. And that's part of why I have been producing Madaraka Festival since 2014. I moved to Seattle in 2010, and this Daily African Proverbs is now becoming another avenue for me and the community here, and also the global African community, to actually gather for just an hour every Monday to Friday. And these kind of spaces are really, really needed, because most of us, especially for me, I always need a quick place where I can stabilize my mental health by engaging with African wisdom, by engaging with these proverbs. And yesterday I had so many driving to do, and I was listening to the proverb that we discussed on Friday, And I was listening especially to the contribution by you, Brother Rushi, and I just want to tell you that you should listen to it. I think you did a really great job, and you're such a great storyteller. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say after you listen to it. But it was a beautiful proverb. I want to know in the chat if there's any one of you who wants to know which one it was, what proverb we discussed on Friday. Then I can share it in a moment. At this time, I want to welcome Jermaine, who is also another amazing supporter of this show and this work that we have been doing diligently. Jermaine, my brother, how are you, and where are you joining us from? And also, what does this proverb mean to you?
Hey, greetings, brother Simon. You're a pioneer on this app in promoting African-centered thought through your daily African proverbs. And I just wish you more life, more health, more prosperity, to you and your daughters and, your overall family. Sincerely, Um, the proverbs, it's very complicated to me, like why a crocodile? That's something that my apologies for the noise. So I was saying, I'm just imagining, turning that crocodile, the long mouth, the long tail, turning it slowly as you roast it. It is really not an easy task, to govern a country. And I imagine it won't be an easy task to have a massive, crocodile turning slowly, being prepared for roasting. You'd have to have certain dimension, how far it will be from the fire, how often do you spin that spite, things like that is not, simple. It might look simple, but, it's a very, enormous task to, govern a country. And I imagine the same thing to roast a crocodile. I'm willing to learn more, from this proverb, and to gather more insight as it relates to governance. So I will just, continue to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Jermaine. I appreciate your contributions as well. And I feel that this proverb, as you're saying, it's meant to keep us thinking. Why the crocodile? What size of fire will you need when you've chosen to roast a crocodile in a spit? And really, what this proverb wants to teach us is how difficult it is to govern any country. I'll give an example for Kenya right now. Half of the country is actually in mourning because the candidate that they were hoping would win lost the election through fraud and rigging, according to the Supreme Court of Kenya and according to what we've seen. Especially because I'm a Kenyan, I've been following what's going on there very carefully, historically, not just what happened now. And what we are seeing now is that we have a new president who does not really have the moral grounds to be a president, but he has a lot of money, so he can roast the crocodile, if you have a lot of money, you can hire people to help you turn the crocodile. You can hire some people to keep the fire going for you. But the moment you run out of that money, you'll be left with that crocodile by yourself, And so for me, I would say, if you want to roast that crocodile properly, just make sure the people who are standing around you are people that believe in you and not in the money that you have. They believe in you and not in something that you have that they want, so that, God forbid, if that crocodile did not actually die, it was pretending that it was dead, and the moment you turn on the fire, it jumps and starts running or coming for you. At least you have a few people who can rescue you or do something about it. So for me, really, I also feel that this is the situation that even Biden here in the US is dealing with. He fought for all his life to be the president, and now he probably wants to resign, and his aides are probably just encouraging him to continue going on a day-to-day basis, because many people really want these political positions, but once you get it, you realize that, you're actually trying to roast a crocodile in a spit. My brother Rushi, what are your perspectives on today's proverb from Madagascar?
Good morning, Simon. Thank you. This proverb is really on time in reference to what's going on in Kenya and, with the queen passing away. It's an interesting proverb. To me, this proverb speaks to mean that if you really want to govern a country or anything successfully, there's no such thing as instant success. Success is never instant, and whenever you do have instant success, it's because you have money, as the president of Kenya has Ruto, and similar to inside the states as President Trump has money and power. It's easier to get some of the things that you want in your life when you have money and influence over others. But it does not necessarily mean that you will govern a country well. That crocodile may not turn out as tasty when you don't do it the correct way. This proverb makes me also think about, the countries we have in the world. We always define them. We always want to define the countries we have. We define them as first world countries, second world, and third world. We always have all these labels we put upon everything. And I look at government to me is similar or synonymous to religion. Government is religion. It's a type of religion. Whatever you use for discipline or order is a form of religion. So government is governing, and government is so important. It really impacts the daily lives, the social lives of the individuals that are under that governance. So that's what it makes me think of, But also, I remember the last time I was in Kenya, chapati is one of my favorite things to eat. So when I was there, I took the time and I hired a chef to teach me how to make chapati. And it was one of the most grueling and tough things I ever made in my life. You have to knead the dough, you have to let it rest for a while, then you have to turn it. And going through that process, I never realized how tough it was to make something that looks like it's so easy to make. It really taught me a lot about myself and the process. So I always think of whenever you talk about food, you talk about roasting crocodiles, or here in the South, it would be roasting a pig, which is what we do. Making chapati. Anyone who has the skill set to do those things well, they always possess a certain skill set of leadership, I feel. Because I always say there's people that say they can't cook. I can't cook. And I always think about that, because for anyone to say that they can't cook, what you're really saying is you don't have the ability to follow directions, because you can get a recipe that can lay out and itemize exactly what you need to do to make a meal. If you want to make the perfect fish, you can go and get a recipe. If you want to make a coconut fish, you can go find a recipe and they'll tell you exactly verbatim what you need to do. So I always think about that. Governing is about following directions. It's about knowing what the people need. So I think about that. The importance of following directions, the importance of knowing what to do and when the time comes about. And I feel that those are the trademarks or the skill sets that's required when governing a country, which I know is a tough job to do. So that's what I would like to add in reference to this great great proverb. I wish it was a proverb that some of our leaders would digest
I
more.
agree. I agree. I feel that
Yes.
our leaders need to be watching and listening to some of these daily African Proverbs episodes because many leaders actually have spiritual support and also many leaders. One of the leaders I admire in Africa is Raila Odinga, and he uses a lot of proverbs in his speeches. So I think leaders should learn from leaders like him, but leaders should actually also seek wisdom from our ancestors. And I think what you're saying is true. Leaders should understand what they are really in. What they're really in, and how they should not only safeguard themselves but safeguard the people that have entrusted them with their lives.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. I feel that a lot of our leaders these days, they think that governance, like Trump was, he thought that running a country is like being on a show, on a TV show.
Yes. Yes, and the thing is, he left the kitchen very messy for Joe Biden to clean. So that's it. This country is a very interesting place. It's a constant power struggle. It's a strong mental game that they play.
Yeah, man. Thank you again, my brother Rushi, for your incredible contributions today. Let's hear what Stella has to say as well. Stella, how are you? Where are you joining us from? And also, what is it that today's proverb from Madagascar, what does it mean to you? Okay.
Hi, Simon.
Hey.
Stella from Kenya. Hello, everyone. Today's proverb from Madagascar is, I believe, talking about leadership, just as everyone has said. When I looked at it, it showed me a lot of things in terms of governors governing a country, how hard it can be. And I believe it's really hard because I will just use a live example of what we're experiencing now in Kenya because I think we are experiencing governance firsthand, and I think it's a bit challenging right now because a lot is going on at once, and it's kind of confusing for everyone. So just as the proverb is saying, it's tough, just like trying to cook a crocodile or something because it would be really hard to get the crocodile, try to cut it and roast it. And I think it's the same as governance. When you don't get it right, everything just goes haywire. And right now we are being told to fasten our belts, something like that, because we have to go through rough tides before we see the benefits of maybe good governance or maybe bad governance. But the proverb is like a warning for us. Otherwise, thank you, and I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you very much, Stella. I agree, this proverb is definitely a warning. And for those who are just joining us right now for the Daily African Proverbs, this is a session that I love hosting. And, it's taught me a lot about podcasting. It's taught me a lot about, about being with people and building community virtually. There are many people who attend the Daily African Proverbs that I've never met in person, but just the love and support you've shown us is really, really deeply appreciated. One thing I want you to do if you're on Clubhouse is that we are setting up the rooms for our next conversations much in advance. So if you look at the club, the African Father in America club, we already have the room for tomorrow set up, and I would encourage you to push your notification bell so that when I am here again tomorrow for the Daily African Proverbs, you can catch it. Clubhouse has changed a few things in regards to how people are informed about what's going on, especially for rooms that you care about. So if you want to be notified when this room goes on, you should actually push the RSVP bell. If you go to if you even go to my profile, you'll be able to see tomorrow's event already listed on my profile, and then you can just push the RSVP bell. That way, when we are live here tomorrow, you can catch us. The same applies to YouTube. We've already scheduled tomorrow and our conversations for the whole week. You can also put the notification button on YouTube so that when we are live, you can catch this incredible conversation. Now, for those who are here from the beginning, we've been talking about an amazing proverb from Madagascar that says that govern a country as you'd roast a crocodile on a spit. And we are coming towards the end of our time together today, and I just want to share with you the 3 takeaways from our conversation today. Number 1, when it comes to good governance, these are the 3 pillars of good governance. Number 1, you have to be transparent. You have to be transparent. You have to really be honest with with the people who are expecting to eat together with you, that hey, today we are going to be roasting a crocodile on a spit. Your job is going to be to help me hunt it down. Your job is going to be helping me subdue it. Your job is going to be helping me to subdivide it. So people have to know all aspects of the plans that you have in order for you to be successful in governance, whether it's governance within your household or governance at the country or even international level. Then number 2, allow participation. You can't do it on your own. Even this proverb is teaching us that govern a country as you'd roast a crocodile on a spit. Earlier on, I was sharing with you the stories of the time when I was working in Malawi, where I saw crocodile hunters in real life, and nobody was going alone. They were going as a group. There's another Vice documentary that I watched about crocodile hunters from Ethiopia that actually traveled to Lake Turkana across the Ethiopian and Kenyan border to hunt crocodiles. And that one was even much more fierce because they had no guns. The crocodile hunters in Malawi are government trained crocodile hunters, but the ones that were in this documentary from Vice that I was watching were like traditional crocodile hunters. They were hunting with sticks, with sticks that they had sharpened, and still they didn't do it on their own. They were a group. They traveled in groups of 2 boats, and 2 boats, but with like 3 people in each boat, and each person had a role. They had this trap that they shot the crocodile with, and it had a long rope. So one person would control, how fast the crocodile can come at them, and the other person would jump in the water and literally stab the crocodile to death. So it's all about teamwork. You can't do it on your own, and you have to enable people to participate in order for you to govern successfully. Many of our leaders are well known for employing just their family members, just their cronies, just people that helped them with their campaigns, and then they end up eating up the whole country without really including all aspects of the society in the governance of the country. So the final takeaway here is about accountability. As a leader, you have to be willing to answer questions. Many African leaders, particularly in Kenya, if a leader is caught in a corruption scandal, where they've, some, like recently there was an employee of the county government of Nairobi who was earning about $200, but they have properties worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it was not clear where all of this wealth was coming from. And so, their monies were frozen and they were held accountable. But this is a common man. I would love to see a situation where the president is being held accountable, the vice president is being held accountable, and their monies are being frozen if they cannot account for it. I don't like this situation where just the poor Johnny on the street or the poor Kamau on the street who probably learned from the president. When a country has built a culture of thuggery and corruption, it's from the leaders. It's from the leaders that they learn these things, So whatever level of leadership you are holding, you must be willing to be held accountable. Even as a parent, you have to be willing for your children and your partner and your community members to hold you accountable. So with those few, takeaways and with the incredible conversation that we had today, this really marks the end of our episode. I think this is episode 256, of the African Father in America podcast. I truly appreciate you, Jermaine, Lavenda, Rushi, and Stella, and Laron, and everybody else who joined us here for today's conversation. There were about 16 people on Clubhouse. I can't really tell how many people are on YouTube today, but I really, really appreciate you. I'm going to go live briefly on TikTok because I'm on a mission to also grow our presence there. With that, thank you again. I deeply appreciate you. Remember to subscribe to the channel on YouTube and also follow me on Instagram if you're not following me there. If you want to connect with me directly, Instagram is also a good place to start. My handle is at Okelo Javan. Take great care of yourselves. Peace and love.
African Father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African Father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.